Today we're going to take you about a year into the future, kind of, to drive this, the Volkswagen ID.3 electric hatchback. That's not due in Australia until 2023. This is no overseas first drive. Just in case you haven't spotted the iconic Telstra Tower in the background, we are in Canberra, the nation's capital. How so? Well, while the ID.3 is being held back from Australia so VW can prioritise markets with a bigger appetite for EVs, a boutique electric mobility store has taken the initiative to import one. And Ion DNA has kindly let us have a drive before passing it on to its lucky new owner. We were super keen to drive the ID.3 because the car that sounds like a bounty hunter from Star Wars is potentially the most significant Volkswagen since the original Golf in 1974. It sits on a new VW Group battery platform that is dubbed MEB and will underpin more than 15 million vehicles by 2028. A small car, that's quite a big deal then. The ID.3 is about the size of a Golf, so about 4.2 metres. It's actually a little bit shorter than the Golf, but the wheelbase is quite a bit longer, so that promises a lot more interior space. What about some other details? Well, the roofline, that's higher than a Golf by quite a margin. And then the side glass, a bit of a distinctive feature, certainly over the Golf. This front three-quarter section, though, then there's also a bit of a Golf feature with that thick C-pillar. The wheels, almost quite normal looking for an EV, but you can get some more futuristic looking rim designs if you so desire. So it's actually quite a bit of a sort of cartoonish looking front end, you know, very different to a Golf. And then look at this bonnet. Apart from being much shorter than a bonnet on a Golf, you've got this kind of sort of twin lid effect with this black plastic coming across here, but it is a one-piece unit that lifts up, I can tell you. I'll tell you something else I also like, because, you know, Volkswagen, renowned for quite conservative styling. Yes, you know, attractive, but kind of, well, some people say boring. But look at this. This is almost daring for Volkswagen designers. This indentation graphic here with all these like little notches. I like that. The rear end design, very prominent roof spoiler, blacked out tailgate, just like a Volkswagen Up City car. And as with most Volkswagens, a badge, this one white though, that opens up the hatch. And inside, well, Volkswagen says we have 385 litres of luggage capacity, which is not bad actually, and a little bit more than you get with the Golf. Practical touches, plastic floor, which is great for when you're coming back from the beach and chucking in all your wet sandy stuff. 12-volt socket over here and a couple of integrated bag hooks and 60/40 split fold rear seats, except they don't fold flat. Also, because this is more of an entry-level style model, no auto tailgate. The rear seat is where the ID.3's relatively long wheelbase is particularly telling, because while there's a decent amount of rear seat space in a Golf, look at this. Look how generous this is. Loads of legroom. This is like a mid-size sedan. Headroom. Plenty of clearance there, so that high roofline helpful there. The bench. I can't remember the last time I've seen such a high angle on a rear bench, but it is absolutely fantastic for under-thigh support. Look at that. Right on the edge of the cushion there. I reckon I could spend hours back here on a long journey. No rear air vents though, which is a bit of a shame. Do get a couple of USB-C ports down here. No centre armrest, that again kind of betrays this as a bit of a lower spec version. Bottle holders here. Oh look, I could put my hand through there. It's interesting. Oh, no seat pouches either. All right, let's go and have a look at the front. Steering wheel, straight out of a Golf. Stalks, straight out of a Golf. But otherwise the ID.3's cabin doesn't look anything like a Golf, which is a good thing, although it's not quite as classy looking as the famous hatchback. I don't mind that, because this is an electric car and you don't want it to just look like an electric Golf. So where the Golf integrates its digital displays, infotainment, driver display into the dash very neatly, here we've got the infotainment display separated, you know, tablet style. Driver display, one of the quirkiest aspects of the ID.3's interior, like absolutely tiny and just positioned immediately ahead of the steering wheel. And the transmission, well, it's not a lever, it's a flicker switch. Yeah, you turn it like that. It's a little bit strange. Material quality, Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss. Again, probably not quite in the Golf's league, but again, I don't want to be too definitive about this because even though this is a real Volkswagen ID.3, still not an official review because the car's not here yet. I do like the LED ambient lighting here in the dash. You also get it in the doors. Look at that. You even get a drop-down armrest for the front seats. The storage, favourite part, centre console, which makes the most of the ID.3's battery platform. Large cup holders up here at the front, big section here that will hold lots of stuff and comes with a slidey lid, and also divider section that you can move around, a couple of USB-C ports, and my favourite part, this dual tray section for smartphones. So holds not one as you normally get in most cars, but two. So the top section here for one phone, and then you can lift it up, slide your other one in there, and the bottom section is your actual inductive charger. Getting underway in the ID.3 is simple. Foot on the brake pedal, flick the transmission flicker, guess you might call it, into D, and away we go. In Europe and the UK, there are 3 battery sizes offered with the ID.3. There's the Baby Bear 45 kilowatt hour, the Daddy Bear 77 kilowatt hour, and then there's the battery we've got, the 58 kilowatt hour. If you are looking for the Goldilocks spec, well, we're not quite sure what that will be at this point, but if you want the fastest ID.3, well, you need the 58 kilowatt hour with the rear electric motor producing 150 kilowatts and 310 newton meters. That is good enough for 7.3 seconds in the 0 to 100 sprint, making the Volkswagen a little bit quicker than a rear-wheel drive Ioniq 5 and a front-wheel drive Polestar 2, certainly not as quick as a Tesla Model 3. Alas, we have the lesser powered 58 kilowatt hour battery and electric motor combination, so we have 107 kilowatts only 275 newton meters. But, you know, the acceleration of the car feels perfectly adequate for city driving. It's got that lovely, smooth, linear response. That's typical of electric drivetrains. So if I put my foot down, yeah, look, we've certainly driven much punchier electric vehicles. But you've got to remember, this is a car, and if it comes in this kind of pro, lower down spec, it's going to be much cheaper than Model 3, Polestar 2, Ioniq 5, etc. So you've got to take that into account. So again, hopefully, you know, it would get the choice of having cheaper versions with not so much power and versions that cost more and are more like an Ioniq or Model 3 in price, but offering more performance. And if you want range, then get a 77 kilowatt hour battery if it's offered, because that's up to 550 kilometers nearly. That is pretty good. I mean, that is right up there for what we're seeing these days from batteries. What about ride comfort? Because let's take the Golf again, because it's the obvious example. Similar in size, the 8th generation Golf is an absolute benchmark when it comes to ride comfort in its class. Beyond that, in fact, it is just so well resolved when it comes to its suspension. Perhaps it's a bit too much to ask of the ID.3 as an electric car with its heavier batteries to deliver that kind of ride quality, but you know what? At least on these roads that I'm driving today, which are certainly far from super smooth, this is a very nice ride. Suspension deals with lumps and bumps very well. There's a suppleness to it. And the steering, it's traditional Volkswagen. It's very smooth, lightish, and just contributes to a car that is very effortless to drive. Also a turning circle, 10.2 meters, tighter than a Golf's turning circle. So let's look at that. We're going to come up here. Not that wide a road. We're going to turn it like that. Oh, that's good. Now, this is the lesser powered version of the 58 kilowatt hour rear electric motor combination. I cannot wait to drive the 150 kilowatt, 310 newton meter version. The ID.3's WLTP rated driving ranges are determined by battery size. The range is as short as 352 kilometres with the 45 kilowatt-hour battery, or as long as 549 kilometres with the 77 kilowatt-hour battery. Charging times also depend on battery capacity and whether you're using a fast charger or the ID Charger home wallbox system. VW says a 290 kilometre range can be added within half an hour using a 100 kilowatt charging output, which is possible with models utilising medium and large size batteries. Battery packs come with long warranties, there's an app to connect an owner's smartphone with the ID.3, and over-the-air software and function upgrades are enabled by the ID.3's new electronics platform. All of which will come with officially imported vehicles only, of course. It's frustrating we've got to wait so long for the ID.3 because this Volkswagen seems like a very competent electric car, and we need more EVs that cost less than $50,000. Whether this is a hatchback that will become as timeless as the Golf, well, only time will tell.